Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So here we are, be good to go in just a moment here. There we go. Awesome. Right, so, turn 46, part 2, my god. We are definitely moving now. It's nice to think that, yeah, we've got a few turns in now. There's plenty more to go. So there's all yet to play for. Now, I have been speaking with Major Problem 42 as of last night, and obviously receiving advice from Infinite Monkey as well. Both excellent players, and the point I really want to stress you guys is the fact that don't feel that you can't influence the actual series, don't feel that your decisions or your ideas don't matter. They absolutely do. So if you guys do have a suggestion, just obviously let me know about it and we can consider it. So at the end of the day, it's one of the things I really don't want to get caught up in, is like pigeonholing myself into like one idea or one plan over any others. How you doing there, Doomsday? It's good to have you as always, my friend. Welcome aboard. Righto. So in response to that, basically, I'm pretty sure if I'd not relented to a degree, that, yeah, then probably Major might have committed Hirakiri. But that's fine, that's fine. Basically, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the actual drawing tool over here, and then I'll help me explain the plan in general. Hello there, Sile. How you doing there, my friend? I'm not doing too bad. I've got a bit of bloody hay fever again. I don't know what it is. I think the issue is it's like a lot of the gardening's going on around here at the moment. So, I don't know, it must be like the grass pollen or something like that. But you know, you just start sneezing, like, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Okay. So I've been speaking for a while about an invasion of Pico. It pains me to say it, but we are going to have to relent upon that one for the time being. The plan, well, basically what Major has suggested here is we're pushing our logistics a little bit too far. The way he put it was Pico could indeed be the bridge too far for our forces down here in this current area. Now, that's not to say that we won't be moving. We do have orders in place to take Lord Howe, Norfolk, and Roll Islands. I think that these might be the limit of the expansion of the area for the time being then. As far as it goes, our positions are pretty strong. We do have, well, we will shortly have control of New Caledonia. We have the deliberate attack to go through next turn, which is going to be fantastic. The good thing is, it's like, if we take a look over here then, take a look at the 144th. We are lacking support. We do need to try and work on having more support elements in here, such as like engineers and etc. But we're still looking very good. Still looking very strong. Hello there, Battling Geezer. How you doing there, my friend? So, indeed, to go over our position here. With the fall of new mayor expected within the week. And obviously we're going to move it upon the islands here to the south, as we just mentioned here not too long ago. That is going to become the new limit of our expansion for the time being. Basically, Major has cautioned me against using too much fuel in the pursuit of these objectives. And, yeah, in that case, I sound really kind of sad about it. I'm a little bit sad. I'd be very happy to be cavalier and go for it, but not yet. Not yet. It's hard to argue with the logic. It's like I agree with the logic, and I know it's sound. It's just one of these things of it's hard. It's hard to get rid of that victory disease, isn't it? Okay. But it doesn't mean that we're going to completely halt operations in this area. What I'm going to be doing here, then, is, as we've been doing not too long ago, is I'm going to continue to move engineers from Luganville over here to Funafuti to Savai. Thank you very much for Battling Geezer, man. That's really appreciated. Thank you so very much there for the resub. That's awesome, thank you. Okay. The issue with moving engineers from Luganville to Funafuti is really just trying to get the actual capacity to do that. We are aware that he has aircraft in this area. Can we get an idea of the aircraft? Go into our operations report. So what... Right, actually I might look for over Luganville. Okay, so there's PBY 5 Catalinas sighted over Savai. Okay, that makes sense. Luganville followed, yeah, Task Force 61 followed by Allied Reconnaissance of 118-150. Ah, thank you, Geezer. That's really appreciated, man. And this is it's crazy to think that we're going to be doing this for a few more years yet. Oh dear, unless THG throws it away or I throw it away somehow, then we're probably going to got quite some time to go as of yet. But it's brilliant, actually. I suppose the aspect of this game that is best is the fact that you do very much treat each day as a new day as such. Obviously there are plans in place for many weeks, for months, etc. But each day is in fact a new day. How you doing there, Carl? It's good to have you as always. So indeed, plans regarding Pago will be on hold for, I don't know, we'll say about the... about March, May time. I'd say about March time if we can manage that. We'll take a serious look at Pago. What I'll be able to do in that time then is ideally move engineers to these islands. I do want to move engineers to Canton, I do want to move engineers to Baker. I would like to potentially consider striking out towards Palmyra, but that is very far out there. We'd have to really consider that. Yeah, we'll take a look at that one as well in the short time. We'll go and have a look at it now, actually. Would good Cyclone and a Coral Sea turns on everyone. Yeah, pretty much, really. It is interesting, isn't it, to see how his forces have slipped through our grasp as such. But I suppose of all the options here, this is probably the best turnout. As they will be moving towards the Kitapatai. Well, one element, the other element will be moving towards it. As far as it goes, I don't see a reason to turn back. What I mean by that is, for example, so the Kitapatai, at least this detachment, is going to be moving to around about here, just a few hexes off the coast of Townsville. The other section of the Kitapatai is going to be moving to about roughly this position here. What we'll do then is we'll see what the results are over here, and we'll see what the results are over here. Now, more than likely, the light cruisers will be destroyed. I'd hope so anyway. What we're going to then do, so we'll call this, right, so draw the number 1 here, indicate 1 turn's movement. The second day then, the second turn. We're going to look to be around this sort of area over here. Bear in mind that we will have G3M2s running from this direction over around about this area, isn't it? Well, a little bit bigger than that. So we'll be covering the Torres Strait with our aircraft there. We're going to be looking to try and destroy any shipping in the Coral Sea here to the north near the Torres Strait. I do want to clear this area out. The reason being, obviously we are going to be moving our 56th Division via ship to Buna. And there is a consideration to potentially go around, but it's one of these of, is it really worthwhile? We don't know what he might have at Port Moresby. He might be in the process of reinforcing it as we speak, which would make sense considering the fact that Rabal has only fallen a short time ago. He's obviously been aware that Rabal would be taken at some point in the future, and obviously that day has since come and gone. So he's not going to be blind. He knows that Port Moresby is an important base out here. As a good-sized airfield. It does have a small port at the moment, but it could be enlarged. Basically, we'll build it up and we'll make it useful for ourselves. After that point of clearing out this area over here, trying to claim as many targets as we can, I really don't see the need to return to this area. I just don't see the need for it. What we'll be doing here then, as far as it goes, I'll be using the patrol boats, the Ansu class, to be moving supplies back and forth between the islands if needed. If I need to move men, I might of course use a patrol boat or I might use other ships, but I'm more than likely going to be using actual transportation aircraft for the most part. We will have obviously the Ki-43, well, the 1C squadron that is established down here at Luganville. We'll be using them in the area to obviously guarantee the safety of the islands to a degree. Obviously, we do have to be quite sparing with them. I'd look to probably keep them either at Comac or somewhere else once we get some aviation support down here in earnest. Though they might be able to be stationed at Noumea. It's one of these things, isn't it? It's not likely that he's going to have the capability to send many aircraft to hit Noumea or even Luganville. It's just one of these things. We'll have to consider where to base them. How you doing there, Blue Belts? Good to have you as always, my friend. So indeed. We're just waiting to actually build the airfield up to level 2 over here. Once it is level 2, I will be able to move a bomber squadron in over here, which will be excellent. I'm hoping that new mayor will fall. I mean, it'd be fantastic if they fell on the first attempt there. That would be fantastic. I don't think it will, though. The terrain is very tough. The deliberate attack here, then, is really just to try our luck, I suppose you could say. If it doesn't work the first time and we do take tremendous casualties, or the enemy's force is not cracking, what we'll do then is we'll just fall back, obviously have the men rest and just have the artillery regiments bombard. But we should be able to crack them. I don't know what the supply situation is, I don't know what the fortification situation is, but I think in time we will be able to crack them. I'm hoping that the armor that we do have over the new mayor, that and the firepower advantage, because we do have a firepower advantage, and the fact of vehicles, and the fact of actual guns as well, which is quite important, that we'll be able to break them. Thank you very much, Blue. It really is nice to be able to play a Get a Crispy game. They really are, it's just entertaining. It's so enamoring, really. But indeed, we do have the 21st Air Flotilla out here. So we'll either keep our position at Luganville or we'll have it shifted over to New Mayor. I probably might do that via transportation aircraft, actually, to do it safely. But that'll be coming in the near future. So as far as it goes, the Kidwatai, they're not needed down here. I could return to bomb Australia, and I have wanted to do that for some time, but things have always gotten in the way. It's one of these things, I just feel like if we do return down here to the south, and if we do go for the prospect of bombing Australia, it's just not going to happen. I'm better off looking for actual targets that I can hit and destroy. And we spot these guys out here now. Currently, there are thunderstorms. So ideally, he'll be unaware. We do have detection over him, so he'll probably be aware of something, but he won't suspect, or at least we hope he doesn't suspect the Kidwatai. We'll have to see about that one. It depends really on what discovered him. I'd imagine it probably would have been one of the Jakes more than likely, but we'll see. So indeed, once we clear this area, I believe what I'm going to do then is have the Kidwatai return to track. We'll recover our losses of zeros. We'll convert any A5M4s, either have them converted to A6M2 squadrons, or have them moved off the carriers and used elsewhere. But we will have the Kidwatai reinforced, rearmed. We'll try to repair some of the damage if it is possible to be done very quickly. Try and remove some of the actual damage to the actual ships. Give them a bit of maintenance, really. But I move to track, and from there, it's going to be an interesting game, really. I mean, geez, we're taking Rabaul and Port Moresby, little to no problem. Taking New Mayor. We've had some nice ones here. Are you thinking about bombing Townsville? As far as it goes for Townsville, not really. It's one of these things. It's like, there is industry over here, and I could get some. I think you can only get industry from bombing Australia, the US, and elsewhere. I can't remember exactly where it is. Can we get a repair dock to truck? We can't build a repair shipyard at truck. We do have an auxiliary floating dock, but obviously it does have a limit. Yeah, it can only hold about 3,000 tons, which is enough to look after destroyers. It's enough to look after submarines anyway, so it's not too bad. Now, I have done some work on the actual save beforehand, so I'll go over that. But indeed, we'll have them move to truck, and as far as it goes from there, it's going to be an interesting one, really. We do obviously have the reconnaissance aircraft at Wake and Midway. We do obviously have our reconnaissance aircraft at Kwajalein. Sorry, I think they're at Roy-na-Mare, aren't they? At Roy-na-Mare and Luganville. I'm going to look towards filling out some of these other bases with more reconnaissance. But as far as it goes, I think we should be in a relatively safe position at truck with the carriers once they do arrive there. Of course, there are submarines aplenty around here, but they're in a protected dock. We'll continue with the actual process of anti-submarine warfare. But it's either here, or I can't really say where else would be superior. How you doing there, Roach? Good to have you on board, man. If you guys aren't familiar, Commissar Roach does have a superb YouTube channel. Do definitely recommend him. Go and check him out. I believe you're doing a Rule the Wave series at the moment, aren't you? Okay. So we'll take a look at the battleship force over here then. Let's see. Okay, so we have the AO over here. It is a hard one to say, really, as to how many warships we keep in this area. I think as far as it goes, I don't think I really have much to fear from him as yet. Of course, the US Navy could come and knock in to bombard, perhaps. But the thing is, I don't think he's going to have the capability to land any numbers of men, really. He may have some small forces to land, but I don't think he has anything that would make it really too dangerous. So, I think what I might do then is actually return the warships to potentially truck, or even keep some warships around Rabaul. It is an interesting one. Once we do actually find ourselves in possession of Noumea and Port Moresby, we do effectively control the vast majority of the Coral Sea, which is very, very good. I wouldn't be too adverse to potentially setting up a position out here in the centre of the Coral Sea, perhaps. Of course, the most central point, obviously, well, central quote-unquote, would be Tuluga. Obviously, the islands out here. Let's see, how do they look? Yeah, they have no port capacity, but they do have an airfield capacity. Rossel Island isn't too bad. Level 1 port capacity and an airfield. The other thing is, it's probably not necessary, really. Might be a good idea to play some mind games with him. Yep, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that, actually. Hoping we'll be able to do that. So what I'm doing at the moment, then, what have I organised and changed since the last stream? So, what I've done is I've set up the Rio de Janeiro. Is it Rio de Janeiro? Yeah, the Rio de Janeiro. I can't believe it's saying now. Rio de Janeiro. I've set up the submarine tender over here. She's going to be escorted by a patrol boat and an escort. She's going to move over here to Tulagi. So that will leave us with a submarine tender over here at Luganville and a submarine tender over here at Tulagi. I might go ahead and move the second one over here in the near future. And keep your one here as an insurance policy for the time being. And try and take some of the small islands south of New Caledonia. Yep, we have got that already in place there, Roach, which is actually really nice insight. So what I've got is I've got 2 destroyed minesweepers. They're picking up troops from Comac, so they hopefully might be ready tomorrow. They're going to go and move on Lord Howe and Norfolk Island. I'm taking the damaged Amagiri. Oh, right, she's that. Right, okay, there we go. Replace. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yep. She's taken. Yeah, these forces have taken the damaged Amagiri. She doesn't have any flotation damage, but she does obviously have systems damage. She appears to be a little bit slower than normal due to that damage, but that's fine. She's going to be making the sprint towards Royal Island. I feel that he will be reinforcing Pico heavily with men. I say those subs near the little island south of Noumea will not be useful. See, the thing is, Carl, it's like, if you reinforce the Pico, that's okay. As stated earlier, we are going to be moving towards a different series of stratagems in the near future. So if he strengthens Pico, that's fine. That doesn't particularly matter too much. It becomes really quite an interesting question of when we move on this area. I'm going to say about March is when we'll consider moving on this area again. I'm hoping by that point I'll have a strengthened logistical network. The thing is, we've got to bear in mind is the strength of our logistics really is our strength, well, the strength of the backbone here in the area. I don't have fuel down at New Caledonia, and I don't have fuel at Luganville. We do need to get some fuel convoys out this way. I need to refuel the marshals. We need to get fuel into these areas. We haven't moved them there due to the potential threat of enemy activity. But soon, with warships returning to Trek, we'll be able to establish some decent convoys. Okay. I think what I might do then is leave this light task force over here at Tulagi. The Fubuki's going to be heading home. Well, heading for repairs. Okay. What's the dock size? Do I have... so this is a level 1 port, I do believe. Okay. I could do with moving these guns out. Yeah, we'll have them shifted over to New Maya. And check the ASW rating. We'll go over that one in a moment there, Carl. Don't you worry. About a thing. 'Cause every little thing gonna be alright. Right, so we have the port capacity there of 1. 1 over here, of course, 1 there as well. We do have 2 at New Maya, but I think New Maya's too far south. So it looks as if they'll be moving to Rabaul. Which makes sense. So what we'll go do then is we're going to have them set their home port to Rabaul. Have them shifted over there. From there, they will be able to monitor the area. They're going to be here really as a quick response sort of force, really. Then, of course, we could use them to escort any naval assets moving around here, which is nice. Now, we did previously discuss the idea of having the heavy cruiser move out. But what I'm going to do here, then... Right, let's see. I think those are... So that's Kagiro. Let's have a look. Kagiro. And Matsuki. Right. These ships are going to return to track. I don't want to be using any more fuel in the area. I can't really go on spending too much in the way of fuel. So what we're going to be doing here then is going to be a consolidation as such. The operation is really not far from being a success there. Just going to put it out there. When you're about to take those small islands, you need to name the save something like taking the Hobbit to Isengard. Yeah, that'd be really kind of cool, actually. I mean, the thing is, it's like, as you said there earlier, Roach, it's like the psychology of the matter. I mean, if we are taking those islands, he won't know that that is going to be the limit of our actual expansion for the time being. So that's a good thing. I'm going to have these... I'm going to really intensify the submarine activity around Auckland. It's one of these things. He will be moving fuel and other forces around this area. So I'm going to move them over there. The good news in the near future... See, what I might do is... let's take a look. So we do have the base over here at Tanna. What's the distance here? Okay, so it's a little bit closer. Yeah, that's good. What I could potentially do then is establish a presence at Tanna. The issue is it takes a long time to build up these airfields. It would be potentially worthwhile to build up an air base in between here, because this area could be turned into quite a fortress, really. Especially if we do have a number of supporting airfields. Though the issue is... I don't know, it's one of these, isn't it? Is it worthwhile building up the air base over here? Because it could potentially be used against us as well. It's another base to actually occupy and control, therefore give resources to. We might consider it. I suppose something that we do have to decide upon as well is what is going to be the garrison of New Caledonia. I mean, we could leave behind potentially Naval Guard. I mean, this is pretty much the predominant role of the Naval Guard, obviously, into the war as well. They basically just became something of a garrison force to the islands that had been taken. I think when it comes to these regiments, we do need to have them brought back and returned to their actual, well, parent formations and reformed into the divisions. So I think the Naval Guard will make the natural garrison forces over here. I don't want to leave too many men here. I think it's one of these things of, if we leave too many men on the outskirts, they do face the possibility of being cut off. Should the island fall? Well, it falls. But it doesn't mean that it can't be retaken in future operations. But if we lose the mainstay of our operational, of our offensive operational power, then it becomes significantly harder. So I do believe that the actual army units as such will begin to return to the interior. Well, is it your strategy to use land air to wear down its carrier force? Indeed it is. It is indeed. It's just what I fear here really is, I don't know. It's a good point, isn't it, really? It's like, well, how many islands is too many islands? Like, how many air bases is too many air bases in the network? And I suppose there's not really, like, a limit to that. I suppose it would be worthwhile potentially carrying out some works there at Tana, perhaps. It would allow me to use G3M2s at their normal range, actually, to run patrols over Fiji. The difficulty with Fiji is obviously the fact that he will feed aircraft in there. But ideally, we will be able to manage that. I believe I can bring a higher concentration of air power against him than he can. And I suppose the thing is as well, is he going to be attempting to control the seas around this area via air power? Or is he going to be more than likely trying to hit my airfields? So it might be one of these where we might be able to use the attrition or the combat abattoirs to wear his bomber force down, really. It's going to be a very interesting question. It's going to be a lot to occur here in the future, actually. But I need those engineers over there. I absolutely need them. I need a supply run over here. Yeah, there's only 8 engineers. There's not enough supply on the actual island to start the works, is there? Okay, so you're moving the men there. Right, I need you. What I'm going to do here then, set up a fast transportation mission. I might even be able to potentially move equipment. Yeah, I could move the cargo. Though that might be a little bit too bold there. What I'm going to do then is have her dock up. She's going to be able to return as well. But what you need to do then is you need to move about 1,000 supplies to Funafuti. Have you move there? Your home port is going to be obviously Luganville. So we'll move about 1,000 supplies there. I'm going to be moving about, yeah, another 5,737 supplies into Luganville itself. We do have supplies that are being offloaded over here as well. Yeah, 8,608 supplies over there. So we'll have a decent amount of supply on New Caledonia. As far as it goes, it's like there are resources here and there are, well, there's obviously light industry here. As to how much of that light industry will remain behind is unknown. But it might be worth, I don't know, it depends really. If at least, I mean the best case scenario is at least 1 unit of light industry remains. Because in the end, at least that 1 unit of light industry, for example, is still producing a small amount of supply. A very, very small amount of supply. But it is producing supply. And that is very important. So it would give us a means potentially just like drip feed the garrisons in this area over the long war, really. But I don't imagine it'd be able to do that much. I don't imagine we'll probably be able to take any of that industry intact. Knowing our luck, it'll probably not go very well. Okay. So that's going to be our movements here. I'm going to work to bring some fuel to these certain areas. I think what we will do then is potentially... It's like at the moment I need to decide on what is going to be my submarine tender base. I was considering Tulagi, but the best case is probably to use Rabal. Rabal's not too far out there. It's either Rabal or Luganville. I'd say probably Luganville, Rabal, Truck, and probably the Marsh Islands. So what we'll do then in the near future is I'm going to organise a tanker run down here to either Luganville or New Caledonia. The issue is it depends on how many mines are out here. I really don't know how many mines there are. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think as soon as we take the actual base here, it will be worthwhile to begin to build up fortifications. And though of course we do have to repair the base itself, assuming that there will be damage. Okay. You are a little bit low in fuel, but you do have a search aircraft, so you are very useful still. You have fuel enough to return to Luganville. I could set that to Comac. Doesn't particularly matter, does it? Okay. So if I was to have you to return to Rabal, for example. We can spend about 2-3 days off the coast of New Zealand. What I might do is have move out towards Rhode Island. The reason being, at least then I might be able to gain some sort of forewarning of what might be in the area. So we'll go for that. I think what we'll do then is we'll take the actual force over here. Not you, actually. You. Not you. Not you. There we go. The Rio de Janeiro is going to be moved to Rabal. So return to Rabal. Set your threat level to low. There we go. At least you'll be able to move from our own waters here, where obviously we do have a reconnaissance, which is quite good. We do have a number of destroyers returning as well, which could be excellent. Now let's take a look. What is the capacity here? See, I'm more or less loaded up here. More or less. What sort of transport capacity am I looking at? And we do have supplies here. 10,000 tons of them. Nearly 11,000 tons. It might very well be that we use this force to move the men at Rabal. Which does lead to different questions here. These forces have been low in supply. And this is a very fast force. Okay. So you upgrade in December this year. You actually gained some AA, but not exactly terribly large amounts of it. They're just basically large destroyers, aren't they? But just not quite as capable. It does make me wonder, how much force do I want to keep in this area? So we'll say, for example, that the Kitaputai will return to this area. We'll have a Coral Sea Task Force, which is 10 ships there. We'll have a small force at Rabal. We obviously do have the cruisers that are returning from New Caledonia. I think this is beyond what's required. We'll have them move out to Bab al-Dawab. What I'll be able to do then is, in the near future, use them to actually move forces around this area. So we are shooting for a March offensive on Fiji. Yep, that's correct. So what's the plans? Yep, indeed. We'll go over that one in the moments here to come. Now, originally I had intended for the 48th Division to be moved into South Pacific, but Major has convinced me really that it is better to accelerate the plans against Singapore and the Dutch East Indies. The reasoning really being behind this is the fact that the fuel that we do liberate from the Dutch East Indies I can use to actually go for my rather more cavalier plans, keep the economy running, but obviously keep the Imperial Japanese Navy running. So what we're going to do here then. This force, previously obviously still named as the Pigaro Outpost, they're going to be moving out to Singora. The reason being obviously they can go upon the rail line and move down here to Johor Bahru. I'm going to assemble a force of about 4 to 5 divisions. At the moment we have about 2 divisions down here. 2 or 3 divisions really. So we'll move a 3rd division down here. Yeah, pretty much. Crazy, isn't it, to think that the operation's actually coming to a close? I think this is a thing, isn't it? It's like we look at the Coral Sea and it's like a reality. It's been a hard-fought one. We have had losses, but in reality we haven't lost that much in that area. So, it's one of those. I think we had a lot of missed opportunities. We had the first battle off of New Caledonia where our battleships engaged with the enemy force. And unfortunately, they just appeared to be wearing blindfolds that day because they couldn't hit for shit. And when they did hit, it's like it was for shit. So, that didn't go particularly well. We got so very, very lucky when the second cruiser raid came about. That was very lucky. So it's been a very interesting time down there. And to think that it's only the 22nd of January. I think we were talking about landing on New Caledonia on the 2nd of January. That's 20 turns ago. Crazy to think that is 20... Oh, it's just crazy. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But, we have reached a level of success. I really can't say otherwise. And we take a look at the defenders here of Noumea. Supposedly there's about 4,460. I think the real number is about 5,600. 5,620 troops here, roughly. 73 guns and 12 vehicles. For example, we have 132 that took part in that attack. Obviously, the artillery. So if we take a look over here, then. Australian Brigade, Australian Battalion. I think this is the AA unit here. New Caledonia Detachment. Oh, there's the AA Regiment, okay. Operation Sue will be going around. Yeah. Something about that time there. With those cruisers surviving to the east, I think you need some heavy cruisers in the area. See, the thing is, as far as it goes, if we move supplies via mostly aircraft and men mostly via aircraft, we can really negate the need for much in the way of shipping around here. As far as it goes, I mean, this will be a extremity of the Empire. I can't really afford to have ships on the front lines. So as far as it goes, we might have the odd couple patrol boat, but I'm really going to look towards stripping the area as much as possible, really, of ships, really. They'll be safer on the second line out of Rabaul, really. And if we take Port Moresby, then Rabaul is actually nicely positioned, so it will act as a nice second line hub, actually. Yeah, we'll have a destroyer and a few destroyers and some a cruiser at Rabaul. Maybe in the future we'll move more forces. I think what we'll look towards doing then is potentially setting up Port Moresby as a submarine base. Though I don't think we'll use it as a tender base. It might be that we use it to refuel. But I think I'd have the actual submarine tender base at Rabaul, really, where it's going to be safe. Still very close to operations out here in Australia. I do believe that the aircraft will be able to look after the area for the most part. The reason being, well, we have more aircraft than he has ships. Obviously we'll lose a lot of aircraft, but the number of ships isn't going to be that great for the time being. So we can enjoy something of a numerical advantages in the air, really. It does depend, really. It's kind of a strange way to look at it, but I think we would have the advantage in the area for the time being, as the experience of these navies are going to be quite up to scratch across the board as such. Yeah, he's pretty good at using the weather, but the thing is, it's one of these things where the weather can work against him as well. And if we take a look over here, we're looking at clear skies. We don't know if this is going to be clear skies. We do get a forecast, and I suppose that is what it's probably using here. I mean, the forecast around this area looks to be clear skies. I don't know whether there's actually like a hotkey that potentially shows you the forecast. There must be something like that. I suppose I've never really made much use of that one. We'll have to make greater use of that one, actually. I don't think I've really ever touched upon it, have I? So we have the RO8 over here, sorry, the RO63 over here at the moment in time. I'd like to establish a force over here at Horn Island. That'd be fantastic. The reason being, well, we'd know about everything that passed through the Torres Strait if it did indeed. So that would actually go a long way to securing Port Moresby, and in reality just securing the Coral Sea in general. It's going to be a difficult one due to the fact that obviously Australia is right here. But we'll see what we can manage. It is very much a dagger aimed at the Allied supply line down here in the south. But now, again, moving on to our plans. I do tend to get distracted, don't I? So, I do have the road construction and the 5th Air Division over here. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to have them shifted down to truck. The air headquarters. I think what we'll do then is we'll have one at Rabaul. We've got one at Luganville at the moment. So it does make me wonder. Is it maybe worthwhile having the one at Luganville transferred down to Noumea? Probably. I could potentially have one established over here at Tulagi. It depends really on the capacity for the airfield. The shotguns could be quite good, but I'd like to have somewhere a little bit more central. So it could even be potentially that we have Tarawa. But we'll have to see about that one. But I'll move another air flotilla headquarters out this way. At least that gives us another opportunity to use torpedoes. Well, they would never pass through anyway. It's one of these things we don't know if you would. Okay. And so what's the plan for New Guinea? Hello there, Knight. How you doing there, my friend? Not too much, really. The short key for forecast should be free. Alright, there we go. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, so it does look as if it still goes by this. Okay. Yep, it seems that way. Okay. At least I haven't been missing a trick then. You've not missed too much there, Knight. Well, Knight, sorry. And what we've been discussing is the fact that we are going to be pulling out from this plan over here. And looking to consolidate our possessions over here. Are you doing that optimistic? Yeah, C is for clear, I do believe. As you can see here. Surprisingly, cloudy is, well, partly cloudy is P. I don't know what cloudy is. I don't even know if it is a cloudy, actually. I suppose it'd be overcast. Okay. So they'll return to truck. Well, that's good to see that you have made it here. Can you actually be converted? Can you be converted here? I don't think it can be converted here. We'd have to send you somewhere with at least 10,000 tons of repair shipyard capacity. I do have some ships over here that I do need to send back, actually. So let's take a look then. So, submarine patrol. I believe we have two of them. Yeah, these guys. The I-15 and the I-22, they have to return to Japan. I believe in my first... It might have been either the first set or... Yeah, I think it was the first series I ever did against the AI. I think it was the I-22 that actually did put a torpedo... I think she put about 2 or 3 torpedoes into the Lexington carrier. God, I wish that had happened this time around. Right, so they're going to return to Japan to undergo repair. I might be able to move them into the base closer as they move up to the area, but for the time being they're going to be tasked towards heading to Tokyo. If a better option does present itself, we'll have them move there instead. I do have an AMC to move. Yeah, there's not that much in the way of major damage over here. She could probably continue to operate with 8 major damage, really. So that's not too bad. The rest we can repair, which is nice. Okay. I mean, she's lacking some of that AA armament. But it looked like it was only the 13.2mm AAMG, so that's not the worst thing ever. I do need to move the... I think it was the AO Cool. Yeah, there we go, the Aoko Maru. She's got 40 major damage there. Do have to be quite precious with her. So, cruise speed, I'll give her an escort. Set a couple at about 12 knots to the 9. Yeah, here we go. Oh, these guys are actually in truck, aren't they? Yeah, okay, so we'll send out 2 of these guys over here. She's only moving at about 11 knots anyhow, so it's not too bad. So we're going to have you return to Tokyo as well, so to go repairs. And same as before, if we find somewhere better to send her in the meantime, we'll send her out there. So return to Tokyo. There we go. A few AMCs over here to maintain the minefields. We'll have to think about where we could establish minefields. It wouldn't be a bad thing to potentially establish a minefield over here at Horn Island, perhaps. This looks like shallow ocean, so we could potentially maintain that. Obviously, it's harder to maintain it when we don't have a base actually on that hex there. So we would lose mines at a fairly high rate, so I suppose it probably wouldn't be worthwhile, actually. We'd probably lose too many mines to make it really worthwhile as like a long run sort of strategy, really. But something to bear in mind, nonetheless. Okay. So moving on to the greater strategy for over here. Now, as per house rules, I can't transfer troops out of China unless I move them to command that is unrestricted. Luckily, we do have such a division already here. As you can see, they're attached to the Southern Army and are not restricted. They are an unrestricted division. So we are going to have them made ready to move. The 21st Division will join the 48th Division. The Imperial Guard Division. What is the name of the other one? Is it the 5th? Yes, the 5th Division. So we'll have the 48th, the 5th Imperial Guard, and then the 21st Division. The 4th Division is going to continue with the plans as we spoke about over here. Yep, they're targeted at Ambon. Let's see. So you're heading back for repairs, aren't you? Well, to be upgraded. Okay, what is the speed of this task force? I think it's actually decent speed, actually. Yeah, okay. So they're a little bit too slow. But I don't... Yeah, there's no real reason for them to be here, is there? What I'm going to do then is have them move out to Miri. So they're going to head out that way. I have had them rebased over here, and they're going to run a patrol around the port. It might be worthwhile to potentially... Yeah, we'll run it a little bit further out, actually. Not too far out. We'll say just in an area around. Just off the coast here. Perhaps a little bit further out. Maybe that's a little bit too far out. What I'll do actually then. About 40 miles out. Yeah, that'd be quite nice. Patrol around there, look after the area really. The beauty is, it's like, we have a lot of fuel here to use. What I've gone and done as well is I've moved all these submarines over here, so these submarines are going to be... They basically had their home ports changed to Miri. I've also gone ahead and dispatched... Let's go ahead and take a look. So I did find the Nagoya Maru. I've set up 2 patrol boats to assist her. They're going to take her down to Miri. Well, obviously she's going to remain in position over there. She's going to be our submarine tender in that area. Once Balikpapan falls, I'm going to have the submarine tender moved over here to Balikpapan. The reason being it'd be fantastic for controlling this area. But obviously if I can rearm my submarines at Balikpapan, we can spend far longer on station in this area. I'm not using anywhere near the amount of fuel just to travel to the target area. So that's going to be superb. It's strange almost in a way. It's almost harder to wrap our heads around the Dutch East Indies campaign than it is to wrap it around China or the South Pacific. The South Pacific is a series of islands, a series of castles. China is one large battlefield, isn't it? While as the Dutch East Indies, it represents a very unique challenge. It's an archipelago, albeit a very large one. And it's a very mixed bag of terrain. There's a lot of different forces here that we have to take into account. I don't have much experience with the Dutch. I don't know how strong the Dutch might be here in the area. The British obviously represent a threat that is growing. He should have another carrier on its way, potentially in the near future. But once we do set up the Dutch East Indies as a Japanese possession, this effectively becomes a wall against the Royal Navy. And it's going to be interesting. We may consider plans against Darwin, but I don't think that's going to be in the near future. I think what I'll look towards doing then, we do have some Naval Guard forces over here of the SLF. I believe it's the independent SLF. I think what we'll do then is take the SLF and just take control of these bases over here. The Dutch had 4 light cruisers and 7 DDs in the area. Yeah. If he wants to fight for Java, I think it would be a hard fight. Yeah, that's the hard part there. Which is the reason why we're going to be committing far more divisions to the Battle for Malaya. It's going to take us longer to prepare, but that's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, what I can do then is also get these divisions down to that area. It obviously means he's going to dig in further, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, obviously it's bad, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to that day of moving across the causeway to the Fortress of Singapore, we've got to do that in as large a force as possible, really. It's got to be divisions. The more divisions it is, at least, the more they can absorb that blow. So it's one of these. It'll not take us too long to get the forces moving down here. I'm going to look towards releasing a 5th division. Technically a 3rd division to go to that area. I'm going to be looking towards releasing one of these divisions from Nagasaki. We need a few more points than what we have at the moment. That one's 1751. There are some others. I don't know if I'd wait for the other division here, but it'd be one of those where it'd be worthwhile. Though it might be possible for us to move some forces out from China by paying the actual cost. Obviously not from Manchuria, we're not doing that one again. But I could potentially move a division out from here. We'll see what the cost is. I'd look for a decent strength division as well. 1422. Hmm. $13.49. Better already, really. 1794. Quite the difference there. 1686. Kwantong Army. We're looking at 1479. North China area. We're looking at 1422. Okay, so it seems like the best so far then would be the First Army at 1349. Which ain't too bad. We could probably, there might be somewhere around here with a division that would be cheaper to release. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a quick look at that. Okay, Central Army. 1749, okay. 1597. A good year. Eastern Army, Korean Army. 1722, okay. China area we've taken a look at. North China area I've taken a look at. 12th Army. Okay. Yeah, we do have these forces here attached to Southern Army. The 38th Division will take a look. In fact, Southern Army is unrestricted, okay. We might bring the 38th Division out. That might be a worthwhile thing to do. I had given them a task of actually moving to meet up with the 104th Division. But then again, it's... I think I might go ahead and withdraw the 38th Division from China and have them move to Malaya. That's not a bad thing. So 4 to 5 divisions at least would be tasked with the Dutch East Indies campaign. Well, if we can get the 38th Division out, we'll get them moved out. I can have them move to Canton. We can achieve local objectives using this force over here depending on the strength of the Garrison and Nanning. But I can't crack this for a single division. We've seen what this force can do to a single division. So we'll see. I think what we'll do here then... What is the actual terrain here? We're in rough ground over here then, okay. I may just have to allow them to pass. As I really don't have much I can do about that. How you doing there, Bob Simple? Good to have you as always. So they'll be in that hex shortly. I could potentially look for a path across the river over here. Though we'd have to achieve success in a short order. So let's take a look then. 23rd, for example. Obviously, we could have you detached right now just because you are only an element of the division. Yeah. Oh, I agree there. I do agree there, Roach. What I'm doing here at the moment is obviously I've got the bombers that are tasked towards hitting the air base over here at Wankal. I do have a bunch of, let's see. Yeah, I do have a bunch of these forces over here, so what I'm going to be doing then is moving them out. As you can see, they're already on strategic. I must have forgotten about them. But what I'm going to do here then is I could either move them to Wuchang, which is a level 3 airfield. We have a level 6 over here at Hankow. I'm going to have them move out to Hankow. Have you move to Hankow. What we're going to do then is we're going to set up Hankow as our true and proper air base in the center of China. It's a very strategic area. Right, the Qingtao Special Base Force can move, that's fine. So we'll have those engineers move out. So if we take a look then. Aviation support stands at 96 at the moment. Ideally so. The issue is like, I need more men on the other side. That's a difficult one to manage. I'll try and get the bombers there. What I want to do is get more aviation support into Hankow. At least then I can actually move my air base, well, my actual air force into Hankow properly. We are going to be running a long and protracted air campaign in China now. I'm going to be looking towards moving another squadron of Ki-43-1Cs as well. So it'll be worthwhile to do. It'd be quite nice to try and get some kills against that Chinese force out there in the open. It's going to take them a little while to move, so we will have some time to actually hit them. It'd be good to try and hit them in the clear area as well, actually, for the small time that they do remain. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. The good news is, as far as it goes, if we win the victory at Changsha, well, we've won the great victory there. He's not going to have enough men. Well, he's not going to have as many men on the other side. So we should be able to force our crossing. We're going to be moving the men of Luoyang down here to Wuchang in the near future, actually. It's taken them a little while, but they should be arriving over here. Right, the artillery's arrived. Yep, here we go. The vast majority is now in position to move. Superb. The death stack shall begin. So we're going to have our forces move out. They're going to move down here to Wuchang. So we're going to send all to march to the objective here. We're going to send all to the objective of Changsha. I obviously do need to move some, well, leave some forces behind, so let's see. Set all to operations mode. Set all to march to this unit's objective. Okay. So I need a garrison over here, so I'm going to leave behind a mixed brigade. If you do win in China, how do the house rules work? Will those forces now be open to being moved? I think I'd have to really clarify that one with him, really. I think it's one of those things of, I'd probably still have to pay a political point cost as such, but I'm sure he'd probably be quite accepting of the fact that I could probably move a decent amount. The difficulty is going to be the fact that I do still have to garrison China. So we'll not be able to move everything out as such, but we'll still have a good amount of force to move out. So I think what I'll do is, like, in the future event, if we do defeat China, I'll speak to him about that one. So obviously we'd use them to attack Burma. Okay. Alright, so it looks like we've got everything we needed over here. So I've still got this engineer regiment. There's a very large force there still. Still a large force over here as well. These men are resting. Right, plan for this base. I'll have you move to combat. I'm going to build up some fortifications here. It's in the clear, which I know it's not exactly great to build up fortifications, but it's one of those things of, like, I'd like to have the ability to potentially pull out without being mauled to death. I can't hold on to too much in the way of supply. I'll begin building up some fortifications. We do have 53 engineers here, surprisingly little, really. These forces are going to be moving into, well, they're currently moving to Luoyang. I'm going to have them move to Chengchao instead. I could spare you from one of these. I see, so it looks like you've just arrived here, actually. 71st Division. Suqiao and Shanghai. You've only just arrived here, okay. I can have you moved out elsewhere. Partial garrison over here. So we'll have those forces move to Kuaitai. Or Kuitai, however the hell you pronounce it. Fill that garrison in over there. I do have some SLF over here. Or is it they're holding that? Yeah, see, that's just an engineer force over here. It's currently moving towards Hankow, which is good. So, yep, continue that. First Army's moving out. And this is a very strong force here. I don't really need that much. Engineers can move to Hankow as well. I could consider a campaign against Yunnan, but that is very difficult. I could have them move down here to Hangzhou. Or Hangzhou, really. It wouldn't be too bad there. It's only 690 miles to go. But it'd be nice to have additional forces in this area. We are moving engineers down to Wenkao. First army's moving out. Wuchang. Oh, see you later there, Blue Band. Have a good one, my friend. Great having you as always. Okay. Over here in Nanking, we do have the actual proper armies. They're planning. Okay. What I'm going to do then... We'll have you move up to Wuchang as well. Alongside the China Expeditionary Army. Obviously having the army headquarters there, as well as the actual core headquarters, will be very beneficial. So within about a week or so, we're going to have vastly more forces here in this area. Vastly more artillery. We've got 999 guns. But I need more. Looks like these forces have just arrived here as well, actually. So our forces have strengthened. Yeah, plenty of engineer regiments over here as well. Let's take a look. So, artillery. Set to bombardment as well. Yeah, there we go. The good news is we do have many divisions here. So if he does try a counterattack, he is going to be thrown back. Get our forces moving. So I've got plenty of these construction forces over here. I do need to figure out where I'm going to have them moved. I could have them move down here to Fusan to actually help speed up the expansion process. And this is going really well. We have 260 engineers and then like 10 vehicles as well. It's awesome, really. Though what I might do then is actually take them and have them sent elsewhere. And they'd be very handy out in the South Pacific, to be honest. Okay, you're moving supply into the interior. And a little bit of fuel, it seems. Okay. I do have a number of destroyed minesweepers over here. How do we make use of them? See, Bataan is... It's a pain, isn't it? It's obviously a pain. But we do have our men moving over there. As far as this one goes, it's most certainly going to take some time. But time is something I do have over here. It's basically the long siege. Alright, you're moving down there. The conquest of Mindanao is going to take some time, but that's okay. I've got some fighters over here. What I'm going to do then... They're actually in a bad state here, aren't they? What's the conditions? San Fernando. That explains everything. Okay. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to have you transfer out to Clark for the time being. Obviously the damaged ones will move via the rail line. So once they're ready to be moved out, we'll have them shifted over to Takao and then into China. Right, we'll have the rest moved out. Actually, it looks as if they've all travelled at once, which is fantastic. Oh no, they'll still be... Right, okay, yeah. They'll arrive here probably next turn. In the next coming days over the rails. You can't transfer again, that's okay. So I do have 23 of these bad boys. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have in our land-based air units. Some Imperial Japanese Army. We'll take a look by experience. So we have the Tojos over here of the 47th. In all honesty, I could probably get away with just having them stand down, really. The question comes down to, we know he has air power at Singapore, but I'm not interested in bombing it. We hit the airfield at Singkawang, so I imagine he's going to be more wary. He's going to be more wary about air power in this area. So I don't think we'll be expecting an attack on our own positions. I don't think we need to expect a attack here anymore, actually. So, I mean, those aircraft, they would be very handy potentially being moved to an area where we do potentially expect to see B-17 raids. So maybe to Marie. Maybe. It is hard to say. I think what we'll do then... I suppose we'll keep them at Kuala Lumpur at the moment. Well, Malacca, sorry, for the moment. I'm going to increase the amount of rest. Well, in fact, what we'll do here then is we'll have them on training. And just keep them busy, really. I've been toying with the idea of potentially landing an airborne unit over here, and then being able to potentially just use airlifting capacity to move men over here to the base. But the thing is, it's like, how quickly could I manage that? To what numbers could I really send over that way? Unknown, really. It does make me think, like, well, what do I really gain from doing that? So I'd have to get a hell of a lot of I'd have to get a lot of forces over there. So I don't think I gain much from that. I might be better off served by having the landing units. It depends, really. I mean, maybe we could use them to snag, like, Port Blair, but it does depend. And that is a nice position there. It's got the airfield, it's got the port. It's not too bad overall. It would be good to command the approaches to Rangoon, when it would be out there in the open. It's a tough one at the moment. It is a tough one at the moment to see where they might be best used. And of course I do have the fighters over here, the Zeros. So I've got one squadron that is based out here in Marie at the moment. This squadron is carrier capable, but it's not carrier trained. There's a good part of me that thinks maybe move them into China. But I think that would be overkill. I think what we'll do then is we'll probably have them shifted out to Johor Bahru. Potentially. It really does depend. I think they'll probably be needed around this sort of a sea. What I might do is have them shifted out to be used on the carriers. We'll see about that. But they're in an odd position as to where they are capable, but it's like, really, what is it worthwhile sending them into battle to do, really? I'll have the army take control over here. The distances are relatively short for the aircraft. Be kind of waste of a zero. And I've got the 1A squadrons over here, but I'm going to continue to use them until we have none left, and the 1B squadron as well. Up next with the 77th Sentai, based out here at Bangkok. I'd probably have to shift them out. Oh wow, yeah, we are over. They do have an admirable amount of range, actually. Alright, so shift them to Kamran Bay. What I'll do then, let's see. Can they have the range for Samar? Okay, we'll move the 11th Sentai to Samar. Or Samar. I could have them upgrade now. Though, I think what I'll do then is I'll have them fly over to Cow. Then they can upgrade it to Cow. We'll see. So you're going to fly the combat patrol over Changsha. We're going to fly at about 25,000 feet. But really, yeah, what we're looking for then is obviously, once the bombers are able to make it over here to Hankow, we'll move them there. These guys would be useful, I just need to figure out where they'd be useful. They've got a good amount of range. I could potentially use them up in the Urals. Okay, these guys are on their way. Yep, you'll return into repair. Ah, these are Fubukis, aren't they? Well, that's say Fubuki and Amomi. What I'll do then is I'll take the Fubuki. She can be sent into one of your repair yards. We'll have her upgraded. So let's see. Naval Shipyard. There we go, 15,000 tons repair shipyard. We'll go have you head there. You can then undergo repair, well, upgrade really. And repair, which isn't bad. So auto disband when you do arrive. There we go. Okay. So I do need to get some capacity to move the 6th Brigade out from Formosa. What I'm going to do is have the 6th Brigade be tasked with taking Borneo. Obviously that is the force over here at Takao. Now I could move partial elements. There's a couple boats over here. We do also have 2 APDs as well. I can't remember exactly what I was wanted to do with them. But it might not be a bad idea. I might just do it in parts then. There's an element of me that thinks maybe it'd be worthwhile having them moved out over here to Bataan, but it'd be fine. What I'm going to do here is turn on low troops only. So yeah, we only are taking a partial amount of them. I'll put the torpedo boat in there as well, why not? Just gives it an extra bit of defense, I suppose. Actually does have the depth charges, so that's not bad at all. Okay. So I'm going to have you take the troops out to Babal Dwab. Or Babal Dwab. We'll have them. Retirement allowed. Yeah. So, take those troops over there, return, pick up the rest, and go like that. Unless I can find some other carrying capacity in the meantime. Right, he's destroyed minesweepers. I'd like to put them into action over here. The issue is obviously the fact that there's still these raiding ships over here. As they're still a threat. I can imagine the amount of fuel they have is very low, but it's not worth taking the risk as of yet. What I'll do then is I'll send these destroyed minesweepers over here to Kotoboru. At least then I can have them ready to move in to sweep Singapore in the near future. It'll be about, I don't know, might be like a month before Singapore falls, something of that sort of nature really. Very much depends. I think, did Singapore fall in, was it February or was it May? I can't remember. I can't really remember when it exactly was actually. Around about like, yeah. Yeah, I'd say around about a month or so to get everything really ready. What I'm going to do then, we do have the 3rd Division, which is a little bit brutalized, but I'm going to have them go ahead and go out and meet the 104th Division as well. These men will remain in position here, and wait the rest of the 104th. And remain in position. I'm going to wait for the 3rd Division as well to arrive. Now, taking the 38th would be good, but this, it's going to be like 1.5 divisions really, something of that sort of nature. The artillery is going to be quite good, but what I'll do then is I'll look for a weakness. I'll potentially have them sent to Changsha. I think the thing is like, we might have to take this. I'd love to take this with a little bit of finesse, i.e. like be able to move our forces using that maneuver to get across the river without having to barge our way through Changsha as such. But if we have to barge our way through Changsha, we'll do it. We have the means to do so. They will arrive in the near future. Ideally, in the meantime, he'll continue to send additional troops. And the thing is, once we do beat him at Changsha, it is going to be significantly, I think it'll be easier. I think the aspects of the campaign will become easier then. It will see a lot of Chinese forces retreat, ideally with very heavy losses. I think ultimately we do have a better of a table equipment, we do tend to have better experienced men. Ideally the morale is better as well. It's one of these things, it's like, I'm going to hope this is where we can win. Of all the theatres, I mean, China was the one where Japan never really lost as such. They never won, of course they never won, but they never really lost as such. So we'll try to use that to advantage, well, to our advantage. And I think we can do it. I think he's made a bit of a mistake in his force disposition in China. I think by concentrating on a lot of his forces, I mean, you like take a look, obviously, what was in Luoyang, which is not too far out from Luoyang remaining at the moment. That's a lot of Chinese forces out in the field. I don't think they're actually at a base. No, they're not at a base over here as well. So they're just sat there. It's going to be very difficult. There's going to be a lot of supplies being eaten up by those forces there, which is thankfully very handy for us. It does, of course, have the forces at Nanyang. It has the forces at Ichang. And it has a couple of the forces here and there. So, the vast majority of his strength is in the north. And for what good will that do him? It's not going to do him very good, is it? It's not going to do him much in reality. Of course, he could always move those forces via the roads to Chongqing. But that's going to take some time. The thing is, once we do have our positions on the other side of the river, it will become much easier to make the push. It's going to be hellish, but it will and can be done. It might be out here in China that we use air power like to move paratroops to take bases, but we'll see about that. The thing is, it's like once it gets to this area over here, I mean there's some rail lines over here, but it's not really much. You can take a look at that. Now luckily I do have a base over here. This is all mountains. Very, very rough. Thankfully, this is urban over here. I mean, I'm saying thankfully because thank God it's not mountains. Jesus Christ, that'd be awful. But there are mountains there, in between us and Chongqing. So as far as it goes, we'll have to find a way out. I don't think the KMT ever offered peace to the Japanese as such. It's one of these things, isn't it? It's like, if they offered peace, then, yeah, the Allies would really quite quickly give up on them. Okay. I think as far as it goes, we are pretty much done with the turn. Which is quite nice. It feels like, it's been a very quiet turn as such, but in reality a lot has gone on over here. We do have more submarines heading towards Auckland. I'm going to really intensify my submarine activity around Auckland, especially while I have submarines, ships moving in this area. The thing is, like, historically, we have sort of telegraphed our intentions to move into an area by moving a large amount of submarines into said area. So I think if we do that again, that should ideally play into the mind games. Ideally will help to convince THG that, in fact, we are going to be landing on New Zealand. Or even potentially Australia. Of course we are not. We're going to move the 21st Division, the 38th Division, the 48th Division will be moved. Now, that will give me a grand total of about 5 divisions with the 5th Division and the Imperial Division in Malaya. It's going to take a little while for us to get all those assets down there, but it can be achieved. So we'll look to try and cross into Singapore with 5 divisions. And the beauty is, obviously, those divisions would be a little bit beaten up, but those divisions would then be able to land upon Sumatra and Java and take it. We're going to accelerate our plans for the Dutch East Indies, ladies and gentlemen. The 4th Division ideally should deliver us a brutal series of victories in the Dutch East Indies around about by Celebes, in the Senum Sea, I think it was the Banda Sea as well. Ideally those victories will add up. But I'm going to say a big thank you here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for watching. I do hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it continues to be a pleasure. What I love about this game is the fact that our plans evolve, our ideas change. We're not static. I think if we end up being static in one idea over the other, I think that's when we actually do face defeat. But I think as long as we continue to exchange ideas between each other, and really consider different points of view, different opinions, different evidence and different suspicions, I think we can be quite the tenacious opponents for the Allied forces. So I'd like to say a big thank you once again. If you guys do enjoy my content, please do consider following myself on YouTube at XTRG and Twitch at XTRG. And of course, if you'd like to see my content supported in a further fashion, please do consider becoming a patron. It does definitely help out significantly. Or there's always the option of buying the beautiful, beautiful prints, which are very lovely. As we can see here. Let's bring that up and you guys can take a look. Yeah. That's a print that's available. Obviously without the writing, because obviously that is unfortunately copyrighted. But yeah, you can get yourselves a print. So it'll be awesome. Until next time, guys. Thank you for watching and goodbye. I'm going to name the turn here in secret. I'll let you guys know later, but I'm going to think of a really nice snazzy one. Until next time, goodbye guys. Have a beautiful evening and a beautiful day. Goodbye for now.